Welcome to the Garage Network podcast. Join us and the occasional special guest as we discuss everything automotive, from fixing cars as a technician, owning an automotive workshop or business, overall work-life balance, and even the occasional laugh. In this episode, we discuss a few things that we've implemented or purchased for our businesses that's given us a great return on investment. So we hope that you guys enjoy it.
Awesome. Well, why don't we run through, I suppose, the introductions first and foremost?
Yeah. So, all right, start with you then.
Start with me. Okay.
Sure.
So, my name's Pete from Robert Street and Sutherland Automotives, and to my
let's not try that again.
Okay. To my left,
That's me. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Why not? And I'm Costa from Smart Mechanical Sydney.
Yep.
And then to my bottom, Jeff.
I'm Jeff from Unemployed at Sydney Eco Tuning.
Jeff's that way, isn't he? I think.
Let's not try and work it out.
No, I'm Jeff from Sydney Eco Tuning in Sydney, believe it or not. And to my left, all right.
And I'm Mike from 313 Automotive.
Oh, awesome, guys. Well, it's been pretty long between drinks, hasn't it?
It has. Saying drinks, I forgot my beer over there, but that's okay.
Oh,
I'll
This
get
is
to that
a-
a bit later
This
on.
is a good one. Everyone can drink beer with me. It's not just me drinking beer with you guys, you know.
Well,
There you go.
That's true as well. That's
Everyone
true as
can
well.
settle back in and have a couple of beers. I'm sure Jeff's got one there.
I've got one, yeah, but I drank it waiting for Costa to finish doing his hair.
Yeah, let's not talk about.
And it's Wednesday as well, so we can't really get on it. I've got an early start, so it's well behaved Wednesday night.
Well behaved. So how's everyone been in general? All things considering.
Well, look, me personally, I'm not going to lie, a little bit flat.
Mm.
It's a bit weird not being able to see people, hug people, and catch up with friends and family. So, a little bit flat, but I mean, I'm sure we're all sort of starting to feel the fatigue of such a while in lockdown.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. But I suppose we've got a few more brighter things that we're going to talk about. This session, aren't we?
Yeah. How about the rest of you guys? How are you guys all going?
Yeah, look, it's been a tough time, I suppose, for all of us. It's Groundhog Day. Nothing seems to be changing. Lockdown's working.
Yeah.
You can call it working. We've just got to vaccine our way out of this, I suppose. But work's been tough. It's tough for all of us. As Pete always says, it is what it is, and
It is what it is, man.
That's right.
you just got to pick yourself up and keep going.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you go to work every day, and there's work there, and we're just really lucky we can be open.
Yeah, 100%.
I agree.
I count my blessings that we can open. Cars are coming in, jobs come in. They might be sporadic and few and far between. And I think we were talking about this the other day, Pete. It's really, I think you said it. Just got to make hay while the sun shines, and we've been closing up a bit earlier. I've telling customers and saying, look, once we get through all the work, we want you to pick up your car because we want to go home.
Yeah.
Then we spend some of this time with your family and with the kids, and they're at home, and that's, you just try to put a positive light on it,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I put a massive positive spin on it because it's given me the opportunity to teach one of the girls how to ride a bike and spend a bit of time with the family. And while it's obviously not ideal in terms of revenue coming through the door, I mean, there's definitely other pluses. Just seeing the sort of kids grow up now has been fantastic for me. Having that time to spend with them has been great.
Yeah,
That's mad.
Yeah, I'm the same. I've been going for bike rides. We built a couple of bikes, and I've been going for bike rides and stuff with my son. It's been really good bonding experience.
Yeah,
I think there's some positivity coming out of it. Yeah, it's good.
absolutely.
Excellent.
Well, what have we got on the go, Costa?
So on today's the conversation something that's a bit interesting that I find. So I want to probably ask a few of us, also the guys listening, if they want to get involved. Something you've done in your business now that's produced a decent return on investment. Whether it's going to be a new tool, a new piece of equipment, something that you think that you've that you now have that you can't really live without, or something that's generated a decent amount of return on your investment, whether it be money, skill, knowledge, whatever you'd like to call it. That's one thing. And then a general discussion after that, I think, and just sort of see how it goes. Not too structured today. Just more of a bit more of a catch up, to be honest. So
yeah, I like this subject because I get to hear from all of you guys about the different ROIs that you guys have had on different things, and it sort of prompts different ideas because there's certain things that I might not have or use in the workplace that you guys might, and say, oh, Pete, guess what? We implemented this and this has been fantastic for return on investment too. Like, I know Mike's got a safety stop for argument's sake.
Yeah.
And that might be one of them, but I really sort of like hearing from everyone about it. So it's good. I mean, I'd like to sort of hear from Mike first and foremost.
Oh, you threw me under the bus there.
Yeah,
I was thinking the same.
I can't pick one. I can tell you one of my greatest return on investments has been wheel alignments and our wheel aligning machine. That's been fantastic. Been really, that's, I think I did it once. We done 1,500 wheel alignments. It was, when you added that up, it was, it
X amount.
It paid, no, it
X amount.
it had paid for itself like 5 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
It was amazing. An amazing return on investment. I mean, safety stock's been a really good return on investment time for me because of the amount of regos we do.
Yeah.
AC machine is really good because that's like another set of hands. I probably would actually put the best thing that I've ever done is buy a software program.
Yeah.
Our invoicing system and setting that up right. It took 6-8 months to get it right and to get all of our pricing and stuff in there. I think, Costa, you and I were talking about this the other day, like in business. When I think one of the biggest factors that happens to all of us is you have a busy day, so you have heaps of cars come in and you would smash through the work, right? But you might have done that job in an hour, and it's actually a 2-hour job, but your experience, you should be charging for 2 hours, right? That's just the way, even though you can do it in an hour, you've got to cover the fact that the first time you did it in 3 hours and you only charged 2. And as you've gotten better and better and better, you've only gotten to 1 hour. So by the time you come out the other side of that, you've only really billed 8 hours for that day or 10 hours for that day. And I think that was there were a lot of losses because sometimes you would go, why do I make more? It feels like I make more money and I'm more, I'm spending more time writing the invoice and I'm more careful with the invoice. I don't miss things on the days that I'm quieter and the days that I'm really busy and I should be making more money. You think that I'll be making more money. I'm not. I think one of the biggest factors there was the style of invoicing system and not setting those things up. Yeah.
And you're talking from an inventory point of view, Mike, as well, or?
Oh, from an inventory point of view, because you end up snowed under on those really busy days and you end up smashing through things and, I forgot to put that air filter on there.
Yeah.
Don't bother going back and looking at the price. You just average the price and go, and you go, oh my God, I just sold a $75 air filter for $50.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you just go, what have I just done? But
almost too busy to cross your T's. And
that tends to happen at various stages in your business when you're growing, like at those plateaus and growth levels. So I would actually, to be honest, I would say to you, some of the things that Lee has helped me implement in the last 18 months since she's come on board have been our invoicing system and charging correctly for what we actually do.
Yep.
And getting that consistency and that consistent, getting and making sure that, and again, that also means that we entered every, and I might talk about brands here, we entered every Ryco air, oil, and cabin filter into our system with its price, with its retail price.
Mm.
So knowing that, and then knowing that we have so knowing that we sell it at that price, that's the retail price, same price a customer would buy it for off the shelf. And we then we go out and we try to shop around and where we're going to buy that from to get a better buy price. But obviously when we're selling it, we know we're making small margin, but we're making a margin.
Yeah.
It's not an excessive margin or anything like that. But it just means that the parts are in there. And as that goes over the 2 years or over 18 months that we've had that in there are so many cars you're duplicating stuff with. You don't have to keep entering stuff in, but it's good to have that base there and that ground, that level starting point. And you just, prices of oils. I used to average a lot of oils, which a lot of you guys are probably going to go, oh yeah, they all cost about this and they do that. Having some of those oils are dearer than others, and them are $40 a litre. Some of them are $30 a litre. So you need to be that they need to be in there, and you need to, and that the setup of that is really, really crucial, and really it's hard. It is a hard slog. But as far as a return on investment goes, I think it's really, really, it's been one of the most important things. I wish I'd done it sooner. That's my biggest, and I think we were asking, Costa, we were talking about this because I said, it is my actual, I don't like having any regrets because I believe you learn from your mistakes, but my biggest regret was not having that in place from day one, set up properly. When I started in 2013, when I bought the business off Dad, and Dad worked for me, I should have done that then.
So what you're locking in is your invoicing program and the time you put into implementing that program to its capacity.
Yes, sorry, I know that was a bit of a long winded.
No, it's good. It's good.
No, you don't ramble on at all, Mike.
Yeah. And that's our hour done. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
I mean, I have a lot of equipment, and I truly believe that, working smarter, not harder. And if something's out there that's going to make our life easier and make my staff's life easier, I'll buy it. And the board know that. They know that we'll go, yeah, let's get it. I'm like, no, I don't even, no question. Like, doing a timing belt, you can't do it without the right tools. Just buy the kit. We're buying the kit. We're not renting the kit. Just buy the kit, and we'll work it out. Fact.
Absolutely.
Mate, I definitely think you're on the money there with getting your software in check as well. These are things I think they're quite overlooked by, I suppose, when you're early on or early stages of business. They're overlooked because you're too busy in the day-to-day, and you're fixing cars, you're answering phones, you're talking to customers. These are things that are overlooked. And I know Pete Bunnings been taken a while to set his up as well, but he's probably seen quite a good result from spending the time to set it up. And software is definitely a big player for sure. So, I mean, you shouldn't do something that you could potentially automate, in my opinion. And I think it's ideal that if you are setting something up like that you set it up well from the get-go. It does make a big difference.
Yeah, I think this lockdown will be a really good opportunity to do that. I mean, we've taken the quiet time and the ability to implement a new occupational health and safety system here at work, and that all of these things are a big setup. They're hard to set up from the beginning, but the idea is once these things are set up, they make your life a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah.
I think that is my biggest regret, that I didn't do it sooner. It's a regret, because if you talk about return on investment, I'd hate to think about the dollars that I let go
for $100 a month.
Yeah, I would hate. I don't want to calculate it. I don't want to know.
But it's
out for you later on, Mike. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm actually calculating it now in the background. Oh, wow, that's a pretty big boat.
Oh, God, massive boat. Yeah. But it's implemented now. That's the thing. It's implemented now. And the hardest part is to get that first part correct, all the data entry done. But then I think Megan's actually on here at the moment. We're running through that at the moment. Megan's about to roll out a new system in a week. Is
that the same system as Pete's got? Because I'd be honest.
No, it's a little bit different, but it's taken a little bit of time to set up. But it's all in the setup, and once the setup's done, it's like painting a car. It's all in the prep. Once that setup's done, it's going to be smooth sailing from there on in. But at the same time, I think we've also got to understand that it's never going to be 100% straight off the bat. So even if we roll it out at 80%, we can always make that 20% up. So the key thing is to roll it out, and get the ball rolling.
Look, no, that's the same. You've got to start, and you've got to start somewhere. I don't know what I was going to say is some of these other programs, the program that we're using, I've shared with Pete and a few of our back end databases that we've been able to swap around and go, here you go. The legwork done, we did it, and I'm quite happy to support and help where people want help. Look, I think it's really, it grows. Like, it'll probably take 5 years, and then eventually there'll be that much stuff that's in there, and then new parts will come out. There'll be new parts. Yeah. Working on different cars. So, some of those things move on and
it's a constantly evolving process, I think. I think you never get it right. Not even my invoicing system. It's constantly changing. Shortcuts are being made. Things aren't working, so you change them again. It's a sort of a constantly evolving little machine, isn't it?
Yeah. I think okay, so now who's next? Costa.
Costa. Pete's next for sure.
I'm next for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll run through.
We're going shortest to longest hair.
Yeah,
so man.
Mike, have a go at this lockdown here.
Myself, then Jeff is the longest.
Take your hat off, Costa. Take your hat off.
I'm scared to, mate. I'm scared to. No, it's the longest it's been in a long time.
I've never seen it.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's not ideal. Not ideal.
Well, look, I've got probably a couple of things that we found a pretty good return on investment on. One in the workshop. And sort of one a bit more back end, or two a bit more back end. The one in the workshop is definitely for me being the air conditioning machine. We found a massive ROI from aircon, and we've been doing aircon for a number of years now, probably about 9 years or so. But when we were trying to look at expanding different services, and aircon came up in the conversation, and we, purchased an automated aircon machine, and we licensed ourselves. And that for us has been a really, really big ROI. But we've sort of factored that into just part and parcel of our routine procedure and our checkover procedure. So we won't just use the aircon machine if we're asked to use it. So, someone might ring in and book in for an AC regas or inspect their AC, but it's now part of our general procedure. So when the vehicle's road tested, air conditioning is turned on straight away, and then a report's done on temperature, and we can flag that with the customer as well. So it's become a bit of a value add for us as well. So not just the service that we offer, but also a value add to our existing services as well. So it's been one massive ROI for us. And I'd probably encourage, if any of the younger guys that are starting out are thinking about, or even more established guys are thinking about sort of expanding their services, AC for us has definitely been a good one. I mean, an AC system, I'm generalizing now, but it can be a fairly simple fix in a lot of cases, leaking condensers or compressors, they're quite easy sort of fixes and real good sort of ROI stuff. So definitely that's been one of them. I know, Mike, you've got an AC machine, don't you, Mike?
Yeah. Look, I think it's almost a necessity today, because if you take the front clip off a car, you've got to, on a V-dub to get access.
Yeah, 100%.
Or something like that. You've got to. It's just, you've got to degas and regas.
Yeah.
A lot of these machines are great because they recycle the gas, so you factor that in as a somewhat of a they'll reuse some of the gas. I mean, obviously there's got to be a charge. It's going to use some of the consumables when you use it, and there's some things that and they're not. Some of those things aren't cheap, and there's obviously service and wear and tear on your machine. No, it's really good. I really like that, Pete. I love that. We don't do that, and I'm going to steal that one off you if that's okay.
Yeah, we've just made it part of our process.
Like just a field test, like is the AC getting nice and cold for them? Not related to the AC, but just a AC check to make sure it's getting cold. Pipes are getting cold. It's working, and that's good.
Mate, we've found that sometimes when we suggest it to the customers, they actually don't that it's not on the top of their mind. So when you say, "Oh, look, John, we've carried out the service inspection on the car. We did note that the aircon's not as cold as probably what it should be." 9 out of 10 times they turn around and go, "Oh, you know what? It's not as cold as what it should be. I should have mentioned something." So it's on top of mind, but they actually don't mention anything. So it just takes you to prompt them a little bit.
They get used to it being sort of tepid or
Yeah.
lukewarm or
Be back 2 seconds, guys. Sorry.
Sort of like drinking your beer in England when it's
Thank you very much. Thank you. Do you know it's funny? I did a fair bit of aircon work in the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've carried your license to here as well, so your AC license.
No, it's so I had the F-gas license.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I could redo it if I ever felt the need.
Yeah, there you go. Well, look, I mean that's been one massive ROI for us.
But it wouldn't be my top.
Wouldn't be your top?
It wouldn't be my top. No.
Well, tell me, what's your one?
Tire machine.
Tire machine.
Do not buy a cheap Chinese ping pong macadang dang thing. Buy a decent tire machine and do some tires.
Yeah. Look, we used to do tires. We don't do them now. And the conversation. I mean, you guys know that we've got the second shop a couple of doors down from Robert Street, and the conversation has been for the last few months that we need to do tires out of that shop. So we haven't rolled anything out, but I'd definitely be interested to hear from. I think there was a discussion on the network either today or yesterday about someone looking to do tires and the ROI on that. I'd be really interested to hear.
It's not particularly about being a price crunching, $49 tires here or anything like that. I was really expensive with my tires because it was a hassle. I had to store them. I had to get rid of the old cases, balance them. Also, I was pulling off a big job to fit tires, but people just kept coming, and I made good money. I'd say, I'm not going to sit down and look at numbers from 5 years ago, but that definitely made good money. And it was not allowing my customer to go to another shop, and that that's how you lose customers. So it was I got them in all under one roof and got it down.
So we do tires in house, but we actually outsource or sublet our tires out. So we do offer that as a service, but we don't do them in house. So it's definitely something. And I know Mike does them in house as well. And
you're crazy not doing tires. You're crazy.
There's other things on the go at the moment. So you know me, I've always got something on the boiler. So there's a few things on the go. So it's top of mind, but it's just to the side at the moment.
Yeah, you've got to do tires and wheelies, mate. And you've got to get a wheel aligner that does cradle adjustment. So
absolutely.
When you take the front cradle out, you can adjust that front cradle. I mean, that's I looked into that. Yeah, that was a while ago. So what were the other two things? I just got a Bunnings delivery.
Click and collect.
Lucky I'm in the workshop.
There you go. Now we were saying about ROI. So the AC machine was one, and then Jeff mentioned that tires for him was a really good ROI. The other big one for me was software. So, I mean, you guys know, not many other people know, but we've designed our own software, really model specific for what we want, and we've found a massive ROI off the back of that. It seems to have increased efficiency in our workplace. The time that it takes to do certain things now that a lot of things are now automated, it takes half the time. So we're really finding that software development that we've been put our hand in for probably the best part of 7 years now. I think we started developing that system, and then we just continue to add on and redevelop. That's been a massive thing for us, is that software development. But yeah, that's so they're probably the two biggest things for us at this stage. I mean, there is one more, and you might be bringing this up later, Costa, but one massive return on investment for me was early on in the piecing business when we got coached, and when we took on a business coach. That for me was a massive game changer, and worth every penny. So I might let Costa sort of elaborate on that, because I know you probably might be bringing that up. So I want to hear. I sort of want to hear from Jeff maybe now about you were saying the tires were one big one for you. What about now that you're doing a little bit more electronics? Is there anything?
Well, so things that, you know, this is probably a different conversation as to, you know, we could talk about electronics and tools all night, especially if me and Mike have a few beers.
Can I reword this to you, Jeff? If I was to come to you as a workshop and say, Jeff, what is a tool that I must have?
What is a tool that you must have? I think we've all got to have some decent technical data and not stuff stolen off Google. And I know we can sign up and buy an hour, but I think we should have a real good technical source like Haynes Pro Autodata and things like that. I think that's an important thing. Not particularly electronic, but use it with a laptop. Scan tools, take your pick. They're all much of a muchness. Be careful where you. Well, I like to keep my money in certain countries. I'm not going to say any more on that subject, but it's just a good test light. But make sure you get yourself a good test light and a decent laptop for running your Pico and your software. You know, I'll go to workshops and I'm just waiting for the laptop to boot up, and it needs a new battery, and as soon as you unplug it dies. These little things really grind my gears, but and it's
turn it on
and here's my biggest tip. Here's a big tip. If you've got multiple computers, laptops, don't just turn them on and back off again. You need to leave them on and let the software update, don't you, Mike?
Yes. No, my biggest tip there for you should probably be, you need to tell people, if you've got a Pico or you've got these tools and you've got this test equipment, get it out of the box and get it out onto the trolley and get it out so your boys can use it.
Who are you referring to, Mike?
Myself, actually, because I've got a gas analyzer. I've got a gas analyzer that sits down here in the basement. So I said to Scotty Daly, I said, we've got to get this. I'm putting it on a bracket on the wall in the shop. I got the electrician putting the PowerPoint next to it. It'll be plugged in, turned on all the time, ready to go. Bang, shove it up the tailpipe of the car, and away we go. I've got a position in the workshop where the lead will reach just about every car. I mean, my workshop's not that big, but it will reach every car up there, and the boys can use it. And if it's there, they will use it. They'll go, oh yeah, is this cat buggered or is this not buggered?
Yeah.
I will be honest, Mike. You will get bored of it.
Yeah. But at least it's there, and at least it's ready. You don't have to go hunting for it and opening it and trying to find it. And yes, Jeff is, and the electrician at the same time is putting a PowerPoint where the Pico is downstairs, so that computer will be turned back on downstairs with auto updates for Windows. Because one of the things that you always seem to find is you turn the computer on and it needs updating. And the pain in the ass, because you want to out of the box, bang, let's go. And
this is one of the things that I'm working on moving forwards. I'm not giving any spoilers or anything, but if I can, I'd really like to help some of these workshops get the most out of some of the equipment that they've got. It's a question that you see all the time. What do I buy? What this do I buy? How do we set that up? And sometimes you may already have what you need. You just need the tools to use it. So look, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens anyway. I'm waiting for Mike to give me a massive salary.
The sign up will work for food.
Yeah.
Well, what about you, Costa? Your ROI. I mean, you're mobile now. You were in a fixed location. Biggest return on investment for you?
Buying the property and then selling the whole lot.
That's you know what?
That was his biggest return on investment.
Mate, look, truth
comment.
Truth be told, mate, you got to think smart too. You know, I mean, we can't just turn spanners. There's other ways and means.
That was a strategy, but to be honest, happened far earlier than expected.
Yeah.
When that did happen, wasn't planned. It wasn't organised. It wasn't a thing in my head at all for at least another 10, 20 years, to be honest. Just opportunity arose. But beyond that, you jerks pretty much took away all the good ones. So I was going to say in the workplace, I was going to definitely the workshop. I was going to say the AC machine was definitely something that gave us a really good ROI, I think. Not only in obviously the regassing, but the work that we actually got out of it as well. Because, you get the ones that are a bit warm, you test them, you pressure test them. Oh, wait, there's a leak, that creates a job, etc. I counted that as a return from the actual AC machine itself.
Yeah.
That was one thing that worked really well. We were in the process, we actually had the wheel alignment machine, and we're in the process of adapting our 4-wheel liner to be able to do the wheel alignments on, literally as we got an offer to actually get out of the workshop, we already had the machine, everything which had to resell. So that was going to be the next thing, because we had a time machine and just thought we needed something else. After speaking to Mike especially, we didn't need to start doing our own wheel alignments. That was the next thing that we're going to put in place, because I saw a good opportunity there to have a decent return for not that much money. Now in the front,
I did go down that route. Sorry to interrupt you there, Costa.
Right.
And I made a mistake, and I was a tight arse buying a wheel aligner. I would do the same thing again if you invest the money and buy decent kit. I bought second hand. I had to put new batches in all the heads. Oh, it was a pain in the arse. And if you're going to do it, go hard or go home with a wheel aligner.
Well, most of us are there for the long-term game, so it doesn't really make sense to get a decent piece of equipment realistically, unless you're not in it for that. Well, then it is what it is, right? That was definitely on the floor anyways. What I found helped us out very well, not only for that instant return, but also the future jobs that it brought in for us. Back-end stuff, I would definitely agree with software. To be honest, I didn't even think about that as a investment, but absolutely. I think that was a massive return. But as you said, Pete, I think business coaching was, for me personally, that just changed not only how I looked at my business, but how my business was operating, how I wanted it to operate.
Yeah.
It started giving me some goals and outlining some things that were only minutely needed changing, or even understanding, I should say. Some of the things we're doing were actually very correct. We just didn't know why we were doing them. Just even understanding why we do things paid absolute dividends.
Yeah.
I think we've spoken about this before. The first month of our business coaching, we paid for more than to have our business coach for every year, just on little, very simple changes. Now, we were implementing the business coaching the same time we were coming over to a new workshop software. So it was a very disruptive time to the business, trying to make changes and trying to also implement a new invoice software, losing a staff member, all these sort of stuff all started to happen at the same time. Was very disruptive, yet we're making more money. So I put it down to the business coaching, keep me in line and keep me in check, and still sort of having someone there to keep me accountable for the things that I'm setting out for that month. Definitely helped a lot, because I don't know about other guys listening, but like I myself, I didn't have any business training or, sort of left school year 10 and when I became a mechanic, that was, sort of the way I learned business. If you want to make more money, just make sure you work more hours. That's it.
It's that old saying, who says crime doesn't pay, Costa?
That's right.
Well, no, I mean, I'm the same. I'm exactly the same. If it wasn't, and my wife coming on board with me, and having, I've got some really good friends. And I think after listening to you and Pete talking on your podcasting the other day, Costa, realised, and I said this to my mate the other day. I got a couple of mates that we sort of bounce ideas off, and one of them is just naturally a mentor to me, and he's in the building industry, and another guy's a lawyer, and we talk about. They ask how things are going, what's happening. They let me know. And it's really. I think it's the same as you, Pete. One of your mates is a builder, and the other one's and I didn't really look at him like a mentor, but after listening to you, and I said it to him the other day. I said, you really you guide me a lot. We were just having a chat, a Zoom Saturday night thing, and he runs a multi-billion-dollar building company. He just goes, no, what are you doing? You're not doing that right. You got to do this, and move this and do this, and you should try doing this. Why don't you ever go at this? Try this. Here's a good marketing campaign for you. It's lockdown. People's batteries have got to go flat, because my battery went flat today because I haven't left the house.
There you go.
He would just come up with things like that. He goes, why you should get on Facebook and put something on there about flat batteries in lockdown. People don't use their cars and they don't drive far enough. And my bloody ute battery's flat. I had to bloody jump start it, and I've got to come down and see you to get a battery. So it was just, and I said it to him. I said, and it was off the back of your podcasting I was listening to when I was walking around the bay.
There you go. Mate, look, I mean, I'd be interested to hear if you guys are on the Facebook page at the moment. If there's anyone on the page, if they've got any ideas for biggest ROI for them, I'd love to hear it.
Well, I can just see Adam Walters has put, getting a coach has been great. We are trained as techs, not leaders.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. And mate, it's very, very true. I think what happens is, like you said, Costa, we're thrust into business, and we don't really know that much about it, and we're taught to be techs, and we've got to change our mind to think a bit more leadership, So, I definitely agree with Adam on that one.
Yeah. So after a bit of training, sorry, Jeff, after a bit of training, I realised that not only we're techs, we're actually running a business.
Yeah.
And the term of just a mechanic, that started to peeve me off after a bit of time, because it's a bit more than that, Yeah. Sorry, Jeff, cut you off.
Oh, it's all right. Pat Crowley looks like he's offered me a job. So, Costa, can you converse with Pat Crowley, who's my manager, and let him know my fees?
Yeah, sure, mate. Pat, I'll reach out to you over the next week. Realistically, a lot of tea, warm beer, and some bickies, and he's all good to
go. The weather, I don't know how he's going to go with the heat in Dubbo, but he's okay with the cold. So that's
the cold's fine. I'm sat here in shorts in my man cave.
Look,
I've had to blur the screen so you can't see all my little hidden gems that I've got in the back.
I'll tell you one thing about Jeff. He's a bit slow with the work he does. Okay, he will come in short, but on the upside, he also whinges a lot. So, I mean, there's no real.
When he's at work, he doesn't. When he's there, he's just.
When he can't. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Can I just take this opportunity just to go look, Peter? Peter is our resident business coach for the Garage Network. If anyone wants any business coaching, Peter and Costa have been doing a lot of that. Jeff and I aren't good enough to coach people.
We drink a beer. and I may as well segue. Costa's got an aircon machine for sale, haven't you, Costa?
Yeah, not the time.
This is just like shameless plugs, shameless plugs.
What we're doing, shameless plug. Look, no, I'm not. I am just going to go. Look, it is part of what the Garage Network is about. We are doing business coaching, and that's you're doing business coaching, Pete, and with Costa's help. Vice versa. I don't know who's helping who.
No, I'm taking notes in the background like a creep. That's all.
And that's what we do. That's what it is. I mean, Jeff and I are just here for the social events and to organise the parties when we're out of lockdown.
Yeah.
Oh well, hopefully that'll be soon.
Let's be realistic. Like obviously we're doing the training and stuff. You're hosting all the training, so and Jeff's running around doing a lot of the organising as well. So I mean, it's a bit of a group effort. So
but it was networking, business coaching, social events, and I can't remember
training.
Training.
Yeah. So I mean, look, with everything that's happened with COVID, obviously we've had to sort of put off the Bosch training, which Mike and Jeff were sort of on the back of.
We should actually let people know that it's been cancelled. Obviously, we've posted about it. We will try and be in touch with everyone through SMS at some point this week, I'm hoping. We would like to obviously let everyone know as well. Yeah, it's definitely been cancelled, especially of the last week of events.
We'd probably rather call it postponed.
Postponed, sorry, yeah.
We'll put it on it'll be cancelled for September, but we'll put it on again later on. Definitely.
So
we definitely
I'm going to be calling people on Monday. If nobody answers, I'll send them a message or leave them a voicemail to call me back, and we'll get something worked out.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah. So if people want a refund, we can give you a refund. If you're happy to hang on, we'll definitely be hosting as soon as we are able to. Obviously, we get by the time it looks like we're coming out of lockdown here in Sydney, we're going to be nudging the Christmas time, so everyone's likely to be getting busy. So we possibly may leave this till the new year, till early year.
We'll work all that out. We'll work that.
But we'll be in touch with everyone, and
it's all beyond our control, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's as sad as that is. I mean, and then obviously next year we've got the AAA trade show down in Melbourne.
That's something to look forward to.
Something to look forward to if it all goes ahead. Which
it's going to go ahead. I have faith.
So Mike's took his hat off. Can people see Mike's prison haircut? It's great.
It looks good.
Do you know what, Mike? You should win an award for that haircut.
It's going a bit thin as well up top, Mike, But
no, that's just grey, mate. I'm sorry. That's just the light reflecting.
Look at the bloke laughing. The bloke with no hair's laughing.
See, I want to know, did you ever get to the bottom? Because I know there was a lot of accusations going on recently. You got sent an award, and I know I was thrown under a bus. And
should I go get it? Should I go get
the award? Go on.
I'll go and get the award. Okay.
Oh God. That's awesome. So ROI from the guys, the comments. I'd love to hear from Pat Crowley actually, if he's on, because he's got quite a big shop in Dubbo, and I'd love to know what he feels is, and he's been in the industry for a long time. So I'd love to get his take on.
Can we invite Pat to Pat wants to come on live?
We can for the next one. Right now, the way it's been set up, we can't.
I think he wants to come on now.
We can't. The way it's set up, it's already like streaming, so we can't. But we can definitely set it up for the next one if he likes.
What's that?
Oh, what have you got? You look like a skater boy with that hat on.
What organising a Facebook party. So can you read that? I don't know.
It's all about pumping oil,
lubrication.
Someone got on my Facebook page and took one of my photos, and then so if I read this, it said,
"Mate, I'll read
it out for us."
It's all about pumping oil. This award is to acknowledge everything Mike Carnamola has done in the world of lubrication. His actions have changed my life. So there is somebody, and I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag. He's there. I know he's there on Facebook. You guys,
so it's Pete.
It's not me.
Did you do it, Pete?
Yeah, you did it, Pete. I can't believe you did it.
I don't have the time. Where am I going to find the time?
Okay. I spotted it recently. It's a lovely piece. Somebody's gone to some good effort there.
Yeah. Look, it took a lot of convincing the girl that made it, or the girl at the company that made it, to find out exactly who it was that did it.
See, I don't think she told you. I've got to say, if somebody said to me, "Don't say anything," I wouldn't say anything.
Oh no, she told me.
He
likes to wear BMW hats.
I wouldn't know.
Must have all the time in the world.
Yeah, it must be someone who's no matter what, whoever's done it, they must be strappingly good looking. Don't know who's done it. Yeah. Whoever it was, it must be very handsome.
Yeah, that was pretty good. It was actually a very nice surprise and a nice shock. It was funny.
Well, even Pat Crowley got accused as well. Like, everyone was getting thrown.
Well, Pat's a good practical joker at the best of times. I mean, like he putting cable top rocks in people's hubcaps. I don't you ever get those rocks out of your hubcap?
Who's that? Me?
Yeah.
Nah. They'll all go eventually. It's Toyota. It's fine.
Cable ties on people's drive shafts.
Oh goodness!
Removing coil packs from hybrids.
So when the Bosch training, have we got a rough ETA next year for it, or
No, we've got. Look, I think
stage?
I think we'll just in coming fall in the look.
Next few weeks we'll know.
Yeah. Look. Well. No. I don't look at it.
Hopefully.
Look at it. Yeah. I don't know.
Everyone else's guess is as good as ours as to when.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean,
I guess it's like when they all ask Gladys Berejiklian or Dan Andrews or someone, when are we coming out of lockdown? It's like, well, you freaking know.
Yeah.
And they're like, what?
And they say 2 weeks, and then 4 weeks later, 8 weeks later.
2 more weeks.
There are some questions we just can't answer. As soon as we could safely, once the country opens up again. I mean, obviously, Scotty Daly's got to fly down from Brisbane, and that's not going to happen at the moment.
Yeah.
And come down to do the training, and we've got other issues with being able to have 20 odd people here at once in the one venue.
That's another thing as well. We don't be everyone in one room for X amount of time. It's not ideal.
Yeah.
So I think it's a responsible thing to do. And
look, as soon as we know, and look, if anyone, we're happy. We don't want anyone's money, so we're happy to give you your money back. And we can refund you your money, and you can rebook when we have the date. That's the issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's whatever people want to do. Yeah. We will do it because I want my boys to do it, and we want to run that course, and it's a high priority and it was a really
high demand as well. So
high demand course. We were running that over 2 weekends, so it was going to be back-to-back weekends. So we will get onto that as soon as we can. As soon as we can lock in a date, we'll lock in a date and we'll let you know.
Yeah, I know. My guys were looking really, really forward to the sensor testing. I think it's one of those things that you might sort of learn the basics at TAFE and then not need to do it often, and it's a good refresher. So
look, I'll be honest, I've done it, and it's tips and tricks on steroids.
Yeah,
it's like our tips and tricks, and it's next level. It's 2 days of tips and tricks.
Well, that's probably another thing is keep these TGN tech tips coming. They're definitely not coming in as thick and fast as the first competition, but there is a competition running. Jeffrey's what have you got there, Jeff?
I was going to say it's not much good in my.
We do have some comments coming through as well about some ROI stuff.
Yeah, cool.
Yes.
You got to put it where your head is.
No, I'm not putting it where. Hang on.
Unblur your background, you geese. It thinks it's your background.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So that's the prize. That's the prize for the greatest TGN tech tips. So guys, get posting. Take some videos of some tech tips that you got, whether it's a tip or a hack or a trick. We'd all love to know. Hashtag TGN tech tips. And we should be able to sort of find your tech tip, and the top 10 go to a vote.
And you also get super famous because the top 10 will get onto the YouTube channel as well.
Yeah.
So you can join the likes of Rob Romano with international world star famousness. Is that a word?
Yeah.
That's not a word.
I think Gary O'Rain's been throwing in some tech tips as well, which is fantastic because he's always got some. He's always got some really, really good ones. So
he's got some cracker ones coming up.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be technical per se. It can be a tip or a hack or a little trick, that you've picked up over the years.
Remember a bit of paper on an exhaust pipe on the last.
That's right.
There you go. You got to be in it to win it.
And that's not judged by us. I mean, we'll pick the top 10, but you guys pick the top one.
That's right. That's
right,
right,
guys. I do have a few guys about some good ROI items. One that I really like. So Adam Malters. So you'll know this guy, Pete.
Yeah.
He was saying one of the best ROIs you can get is a new set of pliers.
Big man. I love it.
Love it.
Inside joke, guys. Earlier.
Yeah. He's only got about 40 sets of pliers,
So he needs more. But you know what? Megan, don't stress out. He's getting good ROI on them. So
I love it.
Costa, can you please explain why my issue with your pliers? So
because my set of pliers, look, to be granted, right now I have nice ones. I had an abundance of them, but at one point, some of their quality was questionable.
So early on in your trade, you bought them early on in the piece.
I was doing a job at Costa's workshop, and before he sold it and turned into a multi-billionaire, and
mate.
I said, Costa, pass me some pliers, and it was like they'd been sat in Sydney Harbour and were washed up in. They were just, I had to oil them to get them to work.
Do you believe I'm going to give you my good ones? Do you really believe I'm going to give you my good pliers?
Honestly, the last time I saw tools like that was at Phil Forson's workshop.
Were they Nipex? At least with Nipex. Old Nipex still cut good, man. There's nothing. You can't beat Nipex.
Oh, goodness.
So moving on from that. So Peter Banning has one. So his torrent machine.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So what he's actually saying is not yet return on investment, but it's a pleasure to clean stuff. And now the boys are happy every time they get to use it. Also keeps the mess very contained.
Yeah, that's a good. That was there was another gentleman that put up some pictures of some parts that were.
Yeah, an ultrasonic cleaner. He was trying to work out how you can charge, what he charges to clean things in the ultrasonic bath. They came out fantastic. I know Pete's got he's got both. He's got the torrent and the ultrasonic.
He's got a good little system happening. Yeah,
he's got both, and I know. I wouldn't know what you should charge for that, but I know that's
Well, I mean, the way I mean, I saw that post and I thought, how would I charge it out? And the way I looked at it, and I'm not going to mention any figures, but if it takes you an hour to clean, it's not just the hour that you're cleaning it, it's the hour that you're losing also generating revenue.
Yeah.
So you'd be considering, if it takes you an hour, it'll be a 2-hour charge.
Yes.
Or if it takes you half an hour, to be an hour charge, because you're losing it half an hour and you can't make that half an hour as well. So that'd be something to consider as well if someone's sort of looking at a charge out, And I don't think it necessarily matters what anyone else is charging out. Like, it's supply and demand as well. So if you're the only bloke with a torrent in, in the eastern suburbs of Sydney, for argument's sake, and everyone's coming to you to clean them, then, well, you've got a bit of a monopoly on the market as well. So it's sort of your advantage that you've spent X amount of dollars on a torrent, So, yeah, definitely something to think about if you're looking at charge outs like that. Have a good think about the time that it takes away from you actually generating other revenue as well.
Well, the way I see it is if you've got that diesel in and you've pulled it to pieces, are you going to have the apprentice sat there for 4 hours with gurneys, petrol, whatever, or is it going to be 15 minutes done in the torrent?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Time is money.
Absolutely. So Pete's got one more up in there as well. Something about what he wants to get that he believes is giving him a good ROI, which is it needs to invest a little bit in a good network for the workshop so they can each use tablets, PCs, but they don't all talk to each other. So that we all have tablets and PCs, so they've all got tablets and PCs, but they don't all talk to each other as well as they could. So a bit of a network for his PCs and tablets.
So I don't know if he's using Mac or PC, but one thing that we're looking into at the moment is Teams, Microsoft Teams. So that could be an avenue as well. It might sort of give one platform where they all link, but that could be something a bit different to what he's looking for. But that might be something to sort of look into.
I think everyone's got to start getting a bit more used to that as an industry, as us as a whole. More any desk. I can't think what the other one is. Like a lot of these, the support factor that we're going to get moving forward now with the right to repair legislation, there's going to be a lot more augmented reality in the trade. A lot more like with Google eyewear, people logging into your computer, helping you do things. So I think that and yes, I am going to say, like, I spent a fortune on different internet setups here because we've got a pretty complex building with a lot of concrete and a lot of steel. And I agree with Pete. You need to be able to our network's fantastic. We can all print to one printer, and we can all share information from anything that's on any desktop is on every desktop.
Yeah.
And that's just all off Microsoft and their cloud-based system, and we're PC based. But all of our PCs in the workshop and tablet, well, hopefully moving forward, tablets. Jeff, hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Okay.
Can you get onto that, please?
Yes.
The Microsoft tablets that we'll get will be exactly the same. So you start to once you log in, basically the homepage screen's exactly your main screen's exactly the same.
But I think you're right, Mike. Moving forward, we have to innovate, and it's going to come to a point where we're going to need a lot of this technology as a matter of importance, and we've got, look, I'm pretty fortunate. I've got a good friend of mine who runs a pretty successful IT company, and he's set up all our networks as well. But regardless of that, I think it's important that they, if you're running sort of a shop with, multiple staff and multiple technologies, that you have them all linked or networked,
Yeah, I think a very good internet connection is a must for any modern workshop. You've got to have you need to have the highest speed NBN or whatever you can get in the country. You need to have to be able to download software, to be able to access it, and it needs to be a very stable and steady connection. And you need a very good, for me, I found the best thing that worked for me here, because my house is next door, is we have a mesh network. So that means I can walk from any room and anywhere in the building, and you're on the same network. So your phone won't disconnect from this Wi-Fi system and connect to another one. And I just had to learn. I just learned myself. Like, I got mates that are in IT, and you can rely on so many people to come in and pay people. But I still believe when it goes down, they might not be able to be here, and I need to be able to Joe's, and we need to be able to access our cloud-based software straight away. So that's just me being an old wog. I just think you just need to know.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree with that, though. Understanding how everything works. You don't have to know it perfectly, but at least having an understanding. How it all works.
Yeah, and I think it's really, really important today to have a very good internet connection. You can't put I don't think you put a value on that. I think you need to, and if you, as a business, I am with Telstra, and something that Telstra's done is they'll put pressure on the NBN to get you the highest. You've got to join, which is, the NBN's been crap really for us, but once you've been on for a while, then they up your speeds and they tweak it once you're connected. That seems to be the norm. So
sorry, Mike, you froze for that whole section. I think your internet's
your internet's horrible, Mike.
Yeah, sorry,
it's froze for like 10 seconds.
It's not frozen. Hello,
I'm still frozen.
We're joking. We're joking.
So I better ring Telstra.
You almost lost it. You see that? Almost lost it.
You know what, Mike? You're right, because now with, like you said, with that right to repair, and we had the guys from AutoLogic on, and they need a stable internet connection to access. If they're going to sort of jump on and utilize your machine as their pass-through device to the vehicle you're working on, you need to be stable.
Because if you lose look, a lot of the time you're not going to brick a computer because your internet's bad, but what it does, it downloads the packets of data onto your computer and then uploads those via your JBox into the car. But you could be trying to, you might not be able to reprogram or program an ECU because you've got a crap internet connection.
Yeah, can't download the packets.
Yeah, if you can't, and if that's too slow or not stable enough, then you're going to have other issues. Totally agree, Pete. That's a very, very important thing to set up in your shop.
It's probably always if you're doing any type of programming, which is I do a little bit. You need to have a good backup, and iPhone, the tethering on an iPhone is fantastic. It's just not always super easy to connect to, but you've got to have a backup.
You've got to be careful. Yeah. Some of them won't let you use the IP address. They need a static IP address. Remember? So you can't. Sometimes that's not always for some of the manufacturers. So but anyway, that's an interesting one. That's a good one. Anything else, Costa?
That was it, I think. Well, there's a few on there, but more statements rather than what they're doing.
Phil Forson says NBN is shit and that you cut out, Mike.
Thanks, Phil. No worries. You get it, Aria. Ben along. I think that's where your wife. You got to take your wife. I'll send her a whole lot of. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was about it in the comment section.
With Ford and Kia.
So what about just out of the out of nowhere?
So Gary's just hit a good point there. If you buy a Scansel, for example, an Autoland, iScan, it will come with an Ethernet cable because it wants you to be connected. You know, wireless isn't as reliable as wired, obviously.
Yeah.
So Gary's just mentioned that. So if you are doing any serious programming, you go on Amazon, buy a really long lead, and connect it properly.
Yeah, true. That's it.
So I've got one for you guys. Out of a bit left field. So we've discussed about certain things that have brought us a ROI. Is there anything you guys are keeping an eye on that you think will add to your current work situation?
EV is going to be massive. I don't think people realise how big EV is going to be,
and how quick it's going to get,
and how quick it's going to be. And I think that if we're not geared up well enough, some of the guys that don't want to gear themselves up for EV are going to fall behind, and the guys that will excel will be the specialist shops that are going to be specializing in EV. We don't think it's going to happen soon, but it's going to happen sooner than we think. You know, like it'll roll out. I mean, they're going to start getting rid of diesel. You know, things like the hydrogen cell and EV is going to be more mainstream than what we think, and we'll be left behind if we don't know it.
You know what, Pete? 2 years ago, I wouldn't have agreed with you, but right now, from what I'm seeing, I think it's going to come very fast and very hard.
I was, you know what? I'm with you. 2 years ago, I was like, I'll never see this in my lifetime. I'll be retired by then. The fact of the matter is, between 5 to 10 years, I think this is going to become way more mainstream than what we actually think. They're opening up a Tesla dealership in Tarrant Point.
There you go. Who would have thought?
So
the only problem. I mean, look, I'm going to be honest here. I think full EV in Australia is not going to work very well. I mean,
I agree. Yeah.
Right. We're too vast a country, right?
Yeah, but hybrid's got its legs.
Hybrid's got legs. Don't trust me. Hybrid definitely has.
I would buy a hybrid car. Like I wouldn't go and buy a full EV, but I would have a hybrid car.
Look, I'll be honest. If I had two cars and I did a lot of city driving and every now and then did a highway run, I would have no problem having one of them being an EV car. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Most of our customers are two-car families.
Yeah.
It is one's going to be a hybrid, the other one's likely to be an EV.
Yeah, I would have zero problem.
The biggest problem we've got is storage, cost of battery. I mean, I'm about what I am looking at the moment. On the next investment that I'll make, all in green technology, will be 2 Tesla Powerwalls for the workshop.
There is some other options out there as well, Mike. There's some cost-effective options that I've seen off-grid stuff.
Yeah, look, I'm just going to go. They're out there. They're on the wall.
You just want it to look sexy, don't lie.
They'll be outside for people to see. I don't, be honest with you, I don't need them. My electricity bill currently for our workshop is
X.
We are in credit $748. So we don't have an electricity bill. We're now cover our connection to the grid. I can't disconnect from the grid, but what I can do is if I run 2 Powerwalls, we basically will keep a lot of that energy.
You could store.
Well, we can store, and then I can probably put in charging in the car park.
Yeah. What's a good value add? That's a good value add for your customers.
We can, and that gets them that ability. I mean, there's companies like Jolt. Jolt have just launched in Australia. Jolt just got the big venture capitalist just gave them $100 billion to set up free charging around the country, which is, look, electric vehicles are going to become very, very, very popular. There's going to be some drawbacks, though. There's definitely drawbacks. Like a fast charge on a Tesla is still 45 minutes. Now, do you want to sit at a road stop for 45 minutes?
You know what's nice though, Mike? If you're thinking of putting those out the front, I mean, what stops you offering every time a customer comes in for one of their EV services to leave with a full tank of battery?
Yeah.
You know, just a bit of a nice little
And
touch.
you could nitrogen fill the tires as well for a good upsell.
Helium, get the car lighter.
You got to be careful. We might take off though.
Yeah. So
look, I think I totally agree, and I think that there's a lot of naysayers out there that go, no, we're not going to see it. The fact is that it's becoming really. Tesla's not a good one. We've got 2 Teslas that we work on. Tesla's not exactly a good one because they don't even want us to touch them.
No.
And the biggest problem you'll find is Tesla at Parramatta and Tesla at North Sydney are currently running generators to charge their cars. So at Tarrant Point, you'll see the hoarded off section where the diesel generators have got to go fast charging. They can't. The biggest problem we've got in Australia is not the technology. It's our poles and wires in our grid. Our grid can't deal with the demand.
we can't even get a train to Queensland. You know, we don't have the same railway.
You know? You got to think. I mean, it's not just EV, like you said, hybrid as well. You know, there is
hybrids going
too.
So I think where you're coming from is understanding the technologies involved, right? Like
absolutely,
the EV hybrid,
understanding that
system. You know, high voltage. You
Look,
can buy. Do not look at orange wires.
Yeah, no. Well, I guess that's electrification, and electric assist for inside cars is going to be that is, and that again another segue here. That's why that's why I joined ProTech from ZF, because ZF manufacture all of the European boxes, the hybrid boxes. That's where they come from. They're Bosch manufacture a few electric assist motors, and ZF manufacture the 3-phase DC brushless DC motor that's in the gearbox. It's actually part of the transmission, and it's really I'm excited by it. It's new stuff. Again, this is another evolution of our trade where it's evolve, or like you say, Pete, it's evolve or die. It's you'll be like a dinosaur if you don't get involved and get a bit excited about it and have a bit of.
It does have its place, you know, driving around Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane. I think EV does have a place, but don't be running out of battery when I'm trying to come over Sydney Harbour Bridge, because my diesel tranny will be pushing you out of the way. I might do $20 charges.
Just listen with your tranny. Don't blow the transmission.
It's a good transmission.
No, good point, Costa. I think you're very good point that you raised.
What else, guys? What else can we what are you thinking, Mike? What's on your horizon? So Pete's thinking about EV and getting the right skills and equipment for that. What are you thinking for your workshop going forward?
Look, I'll be honest. For a long time, I've been looking at ADAS stuff, but after our chat to Scott Brown and some of the stuff that we've done with Scotty Daly, there's going to be, and you know, I don't know whether we got into this with Scott Brown, but you and I did when we chatted to him. But there's going to be a select group of cars at the moment that are going to need calibrations, and then they're gradually moving. I've pulled away from that a little bit because I know they're going down the dynamic calibration route. There always will be something. The radar will need to be calibrated, and a few things are always going to need to be calibrated after an accident or after a front clip's been removed. So there'll be some investment in some equipment in those areas.
And for the guys that missed that out, we do have a bit of a training session with Scott Brown up in YouTube, by the way, the Garage Network. If you want to have a look at that, just touches on a few things to look out for if you are working on a modern vehicle. even if you're not aware, just in case, just have a look at it.
Yeah, there's just some stuff that there's just some of the Scott's in California. He's a trainer and he's got a workshop and he runs diag.net and it was some really interesting stuff chatting to him because he's been running some training courses on ADAS and different ADAS systems. And yeah, basically like the nuts and bolts to it really is that there's a lot of these cars now need calibrations, static calibrations that you need to do in the workshop. And then moving forward, a lot of them are moving, they're gradually shifting to dynamic calibrations, meaning that they'll calibrate themselves when you're driving down the road, off the street signs, off the lines, because there are lots of things on our streets that are standardized, the distance between line markings, the height of stop signs, the size of stop signs, the size of give way signs, the size of speed signs and those sorts of things. And that will pick those up and it automatically calibrates itself to those. So I have shied away a little bit of that. I've pushed a little bit more to probably putting, again, my next investment is probably going to be Tesla Powerwalls, more so as a little bit there be on the outside of the building. People will be able to see them just to promote our EV side as well, to say, look, we're green. We've got our green stamp accreditation and our sustainability awards, and we're a sustainable business, and we're looking after your future as a planet, and trying to look after so that there is a planet for our children to grow up on. And obviously we're forward thinking enough to be going, you know, we're moving in the right direction for the same direction that everyone that we have to move in. I think it's just inevitable. We have to do that. So, you know, otherwise, but yeah, there's no other pieces of equipment or anything that I've got my eye on that screams to me at the moment.
What about you, Jeff? I know you're very tech savvy. So what would I need in my workshop in the next 5 years?
You might need to ask me this in about 2 weeks. So look, Phil Forson. I've said his name so many times.
Oh no, has he sponsored you or something? Like I've got a counter here.
I'm saying it
going
again,
off the amount of times you said his name. I think it owes us about $80.
I spoke to him yesterday, and he went, "I'm not bloody listening to that thing." Straight away, he's on it. He hit a good a topic, and that was battery support. My laptop is sat on my GYS flash at the moment, raising it up for me. You need battery support for working on your modern cars, guys. If you haven't got one, get they can be expensive. Buy the best one that you can get, and then save up a better one. But you want to be seeing around about 100 amps, 70 to 100 amps. You can get 130 amp ones now, but something's better than nothing. But it's not just a UC tech on trickle charge. It needs that stable power.
Yeah, I've got three now. So I've got 3 reflash power supplies or chargers, and they really need to be on each hoist. And I'm thinking about how I adapt those up onto each hoist. So that that's what you do at the dealer level, Susan Acosta, VW World.
Yeah, they want to definitely anytime you're programming or anytime. A lot of times, even if you're scanning or you're working on a car for a long time, they do like to have their stabilizers on there.
Yeah. No, well, not even programming or anything, like because
even anything. It's
even if you're, like I said, doing scanning or you're doing something for quite a long time, you're definitely connecting up your.
Yeah, I've been hearing rumors that a lot of dealers will have them. A lot of the newer workshops will have them set up on each hoist, and they'll plug them in as soon as they start doing a service.
Well, they have it on there. Some of the ones that we've seen, they have them on their diode cart. So as a diode cart comes around with your OBD port, everything's all in one. Bottom drawer is a stabilizer. Throw your stabilizer on as well.
Yeah.
So, our local BMW dealer, sort of 12 years ago, they had stabilizers on every hoist.
There you go. Definitely very important. Oh, good one, Jeff. Good thing I invested in one.
You actually bought 2.
I did. Yeah,
you bought 2. Phil Forson didn't buy any.
Oh.
How many times? Phil's probably not even watching.
By the way,
Yeah,
that's
you know,
the
he's
12th
commenting.
time. So you
I'm
charge? Are
seeing
we
it.
charging that per name, or how's that
I'm
working?
seeing his
Multiplier?
comments. I'm just busting his chops, that's all.
There you go.
Awesome.
Well, guys, that was, I think that was very well rounded.
I think we're going to call that a wrap.
Yep.
Very well rounded.
Unless we have any more comments or questions.
Anyone want to know anything?
Gil did say everyone in an electric car should charge during the day, assisted with solar, and drive only at night.
I know. I
You
love
can't
Gil.
even do that now. Can't
Can't do that. Well, that's a good thing. That's a
Curfew,
good thing. There you go.
9 p.m.
9 p.m. Be home.
I feel like I'm 15 again.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
so,
Sorry,
no,
Pete.
no.
What scares me a bit, yeah, I've seen a few videos on YouTube of these full EVs when the fire brigade are like submerging them into a vat to stop them from setting everything on fire. All the underground car parks that we've got here in Sydney, let alone wherever else in Australia, I don't know. It's a bit scary, isn't it?
No, I think we just get we're just going to get a lithium. We're going to turn the coal-fired power stations into lithium. Can't do anything else with it. It's too hard to recycle. So we just have lithium-fired power stations. So take all the EV, old Milwaukee batteries.
Graveyard.
But well done, boys. Well done. I think that was a good one. Is there any questions from any of the guys watching? I don't know if have we got a big audience today?
We do have a decent audience going on. We do have again, Gil gives us one more thing as well. So every Euro needs a stabilizer.
Yeah.
Charger while servicing, especially Volvos, as they never go to sleep.
Yeah, you know what?
And I would take whatever Gil says seriously because he's sort of a man that knows it all. I wouldn't be arguing with that guy, so I would definitely be following his recommendation.
Yeah. Yep. No, and look, where he's situated as well, his shop, he probably sees a lot of that type of stuff as well. So
I use Gil as my little crystal ball for what's coming next.
Whatever Gil says, okay. Don't comment.
Gil's like, Gil, what are you having trouble with? It's like, what am I going to be scared of? If you can't work that out, I'm going to be scared of it.
I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Well,
right,
boys,
cool.
that was great. I suppose we round out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it actually worked out. So, guys, thank you for listening. Keep in mind, this will most probably become a podcast as well. We do have a fair few on there already by now, and there will be a few more going in there over the next few weeks.
Yeah, should we give them a hint?
No. If they want to, they've got to stay. They've got to.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry, mate. They've got to stay. They've got to stay.
Never tell Mike a secret, by the way. Never
Sorry?
tell Mike a secret.
Yeah, no.
Don't tell me a secret. I like to share.
Yeah, just so everyone's aware, if you're looking for our podcast channel, if you go on Spotify, it's The Garage Network. We're still working on getting it onto Apple and a few other of the apps as well. So The Garage Network. Also, don't forget to check out our YouTube. Again, The Garage Network. A lot of these videos that you see, so whatever is a podcast will also be on YouTube. And also whatever is on that will also be on the page. So it'd be easy to find it all if you need to. YouTube seems to be pretty easy to find a lot of these videos, because you can search with criteria, or our podcast channel. And our website.
And we'll try to, we're venturing to try to do another, not Friday Night Live, maybe another Wednesday Night Live.
Yeah.
In about 4
a
weeks.
month, is that right?
Yeah, in about a month. But in the meantime, we're probably going to be having a few different special guests over the next few weeks. Awesome. So we're definitely going to have at least 1 to 2 videos dropping every week with different people from our industry and some from outside of our industry. So it's going to be a little bit interesting, I reckon.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, guys. If there's no more,
take care, guys. Nice seeing you all again.
You too, guys.
Nice seeing you too.
See you all.
Enjoy.
Okay.
Take
See
care,
you guys.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Yes. See you guys.
Don't forget to join our private Facebook page if you are an automotive technician, and also subscribe to our YouTube and our podcast channel. They are all called the Garage Network. Thanks, guys, and see you next time.